Monday, March 19th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I'm going to look at the markets as usual this morning and talk a little bit about cryptocurrencies. We've seen quite a big correction over the weekend. They've rebounded quite well, I would say, in the last 12 hours. So let's see where we are this morning. It's 7:40 a.m. London time. Spot gold is at 1310, so down 4. Range has been 1308 to 1315. Silver is at 1625, down 8. Range has been 1623 to 1640. So again, the paper price of gold frustrating. Longer term, though, still the best monetary asset to have. I think it will pay, handsomely, or in other words, will protect people who hold physical gold and silver against, the fraudulent fiat money system. At the moment, gold and silver are being kept a bit under pressure and suppressed. But they can't do that forever, because even the bankers, the people who run this system, they hold the most gold, because they know that without gold, they can't keep their scam going. They just need to keep it like the public from getting involved, because they don't want competition. That's the whole thing. They want control. They want people to stay, dependent on them. That's why you need to get the physical. Anyway, the Dow is down 42, 24,884, so down just about 0.2%. S&P is down 6, a quarter of a percent at 2742. NASDAQ is down 51 actually, and it's almost 0.75% at 6963, the NASDAQ future. Currencies, a bit mixed. The pound's weaker, is down 0.1%, 139.26. The euro is down about the same percentage-wise. It's at 122.70. But the dollar is down against the yen, 0.2%, 105.76. So that's what's happening in the major markets here. The bond market is interesting. It's starting to pick up again, the yield. Yes, last week we saw a big drop down to 280. This week we started out already higher. We're up 2 basis points, almost back up to 287, just under 287, the 10-year yield. So another interesting indicator to keep an eye on. So looking at the headlines before I go into Bitcoin here, there's on Zero Hedge some interesting headlines. One says Edward Snowden, apparently he said Facebook is a surveillance company, rebranded as social media. Not surprised. German Interior Minister calls for suspension of Schengen national border controls. So Schengen is the rule, European rule that countries within the EU don't need a passport. They can move freely. The European Union. I don't think the UK is part of the Schengen because I guess it's an island, but that's interesting. What else? Russia's reaction to the insults of the West is political suicide. So this is what apparently Russia's been saying. The West doesn't give a hoot about the truth. You will never win. I think it's an amazing campaign here in the UK, regarding this chemical attack on this KGB, MI6 spy, Russian MI6 spy. The UK government has no proof yet, and they're already trying to blame the Russians, because if you look at the words they use, they say it's highly likely, it's most likely. They never say, oh, here's the proof. So I think, unfortunately, someone's going to end up with a lot of egg in their face, i.e. the UK government, or it's going to lead to some big crisis. I hope, you know, the former will happen. What else is there? Oh yeah, another one that I thought was interesting. The bond market hits a tipping point. What that means for stocks? Well, in this bond market, the Zero Hedge article is talking about is not the government bond market, but it's the investment grade corporate bond market, and they're looking at corporate yields. You see, the investment grade corporate bond yield, I guess it's an index that they keep of corporate bond yields, that has gone up to the highest since the beginning, well, the end of 2011. It's at 3.68%. So it's not only treasury yields that are going up, i.e. is not only the US government that's paying to borrow more, but also corporations. And what that means, in my opinion, I haven't read the article, I saw the headline, excuse me. What it means is that corporations are going to find it much more expensive to borrow money to do their buybacks. And that's why it could be negative for the stock market, because we know that over the last few years, one of the big reasons that the stock market in the US has been going up is because of all the easy money. Corporations haven't been borrowing money to invest in their business. They've been borrowing money to buy back their stock, so that the directors, CEOs, all the big guys and girls can, you know, can make loads of money on their stock, on the stock and shares they hold in the company. So this is very interesting. What about Bitcoin? Well, there's a story here, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And how do I feel about this correction? I think it's just a correction. Am I saying all cryptocurrencies are going to go higher and do really well? No. I'm not here to do your homework. I'm just here to talk about the way I look at it, and that might help you. And I'm not giving advice. I'm just telling you the way I look at it. You need to do your homework if you want to get involved in cryptocurrencies. You need to take personal responsibility for your actions. I don't believe in people doing things, asking experts, because the experts, a lot of times, they don't do the due diligence. So you can't depend on them. You got to do your own homework. It's got to be your own business. So you got to learn how to, everything about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, you know, how to store them, how to trade them. I've done that myself on my own, and it's not hard. It's all on the internet. Google is a good search engine to find out, of course, and loads of YouTube videos. So what's Zero Hedge is saying here, Bitcoin soars $1,000 off the lows after G20 rejects crypto crackdown. Basically, what they're saying is that the FSB, which is international regulatory body for the banksters, and the FSB actually is part of the Bank for International Settlements. So don't think it's like a governmental institution. They're actually crooks, in my opinion. You know, the BIS, they've been in charge of oversight of the international banks since 1983, and look what kind of rubbish, you know, what kind of crisis we've had since then. So are they any good? Are you going to depend on the FSB and the bankers, the BIS, to, you know, to tell you how to act? Take responsibility for yourself. Yeah, don't believe what I tell you. Just do your homework. So what's the FSB saying, or the BIS? It says the FSB's initial assessment is that crypto assets do not pose risks to global financial stability at this time. No, because the thing that poses risk for the global financial stability is the FSB and the BIS and their agent banks and their central banks and their fraudulent fiat money system. That's what poses risk to financial stability. Yes, they're right. FSB chairman Mark Carney, well, he's actually the governor of the Bank of England, but he also poses as a a regulator for the BIS. You know, he's got like several jobs. He said in a letter to G20 central bankers, well, a letter to himself, and finance ministers who will meet in Buenos Aires on Monday and Tuesday. Wow, you're going to travel all the way to Argentina to meet. Great. Great use of taxpayer money, Mr. Carney and Mr. Powell. So that's what they're saying, and Zero Hedge thinks that's why cryptocurrencies have gone up. Maybe, you know, I'm always skeptical about using headlines as reasons why markets move, but and we'll see. I think, as I said, you need to do your homework. If you have a favorite altcoin or cryptocurrency, you just keep dollar cost averaging. I like EOS or EOS. It's come down a lot. I've actually bought some the last few days, twice. I used their you know, crowd sales system. You can go in and buy it in the market as well, but I prefer just to send the, you know, the ether, and then I'll claim after the period is finished. I've been buying some LITECOIN as well. Of course, I still have my gold and silver, physical gold and silver. I think the cryptocurrencies and altcoins are a bit like having mining shares, which I still have as well. They're very speculative. And the blockchain technology, you know, that's a big thing. I think, and I've said earlier in other videos, that we're still in the early days of that. It's a bit like the internet in the early mid-90s. A lot of people didn't think the internet was going to amount to anything. It's going to be, I think it's the same thing with the blockchain. Yeah, some people argue, well, Bitcoin cryptocurrencies are a scam. Maybe, but I don't think so. They're not any more scams than the, you know, the Federal Reserve note, the Bank of England note, or the ECB note, of the Bank of Japan note. At least these cryptocurrencies and altcoins, if you look into them, a lot of them have, they're linked to applications that help people on the internet. I know a lot of these ICOs are like scams, but not any worse than fiat money. And if anything, better, because it takes effort and it's not forced upon the market. People are not being forced to buy cryptocurrencies like they're forced to pay taxes in fiat money. So that's my thought for the morning. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Follow me also on steemit.com, which is a blockchain-based social media platform, and on Twitter. And I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.